So in today's video, I want to talk about how you can destroy your e-commerce business in one step. So guys, welcome back to the channel. If you don't know who I am, my name is Rasmus. I'm the owner of Minix, and we specialize in helping e-commerce brands add an extra 150 to 250K to the monthly revenue by leveraging UGC videos and paid advertising on a performance basis. The title of today's video is how to destroy e-com brand in one step, right? And this is really a play on inverse thinking, which is something I've been into a lot lately. And if you don't know what it is, inverse thinking is basically a method of trying to solve a problem or hit a goal by thinking of all the ways you would not hit that goal, right? Thinking about all the ways that you would guarantee that you just wouldn't hit it at all. And so the reason why you would do that is because the brain is much better at actually figuring out how to not do something, how to fail at something, than it is thinking about how you can succeed at whatever you're trying to achieve, right? What we're gonna be looking at today, specifically for this one step, is what we call profit margins, or more specifically, gross profit margins. When you're in e-commerce specifically, but also just in any business, your gross profit margin, your operating margin basically, is what will dictate how easy it will be for you to scale, how much you can pay to acquire a customer, how easy it will be for you to pay for employees. There's a lot that goes into gross profit margin, and it's really the core of any business. Now, speaking about gross margins, how do you then make sure that we will stay in business as short as possible, right? So if this was inverse thinking and you would be thinking about all the ways your business could fail, you would probably start by saying, just don't start a business, wait until tomorrow, right? But let's say you actually do that and you do start a business, then the best way for you to actually make sure that you go out of business as quick as possible would be to try and compete on price. So what happens is when you're trying to compete on price is that your margins get razor thin. And now all the money you pay to acquire a customer, that will be too much money, because now you need a 10x return on ad spend, a 20x return on ad spend, just to go break even. But that's not happening in today's world, especially not if you're starting from zero. Not to mention that you will have returns, you will have staff to pay for, you will have warehouse, processing fees, etc., etc. So you'll basically be packing all the orders for free and constantly have to worry about every month, can you pay your bills? Will you have a roof over your head? So not before long, you will be out of business. And that's great. In this example, it's great because now we actually found the solution, right? So we need to do the reverse of that, and then we will have a thriving business. But if you're watching this video and you do have razor thin margins, or everything just seems tight in your business, there's a second part of this you actually need to do as well. You need to change your mindset. You need to change a certain belief system you have about what products you're actually selling. So over the last 5 years that I've been in this e-commerce space, I've been on a lot of calls with brands and brand owners trying to compete on price because they think they're doing their customers a service really and trying to be the good guy. But what they're not realizing is they're trying to compete with Amazon and all the big guys when they're only doing 10K a month. And then when I check in with them later, a year after, they're still at 10K a month because their ads didn't work. Their conversion rate is not where it should be, but they don't realize it's because of their margins. And you really just cannot have a healthy business without healthy margins. It's the core of everything. When you try and play this out over the long term, you will grow and you will need to get employees, you will need to get a warehouse, etc. Because if you play this out over the long term, you will have to get employees at a certain point, you will have to get a warehouse. But if you're operating on a 10% gross profit margin, you'll need to spit out more than $1 million a year in revenue just for you to be able to pay one employee to pack your orders for 3K a month. And once you've paid that employee, you won't even have money to pay your own salary. So now you're back to square one where you're working for free again, right? No one wants that. So if you do have this urge to try and compete on price and have razor thin margins because it's a good strategy to, be cheaper than everyone else, try and do this exercise. Try and sit down for 10, 20, 30 minutes and think about what is it actually about your brand and your product that stands out to the rest of the competition besides price. And what I think you'll find out is that there's literally nothing, because it's not customer service, I guarantee you that. It's not fast shipping, because Amazon on both of those will outcompete you any day of the week. So what you really need to do is you need to tweak your products, your packaging and your branding so that you can actually deliver something unique to the marketplace, and then you can actually charge more for your products. Because when you do operate on a 10% gross margin and you need to do over $1 million in revenue just to have one employee just to pack some orders with you, you're really just doing your customers a disservice when you actually deliver something good to the marketplace. Because if you actually believe that you're delivering something your customers absolutely need and you feel proud of what you're selling, then you'll be doing your customers a disservice by actually not charging more. So it's easier for you to stay in business, right? You need to be thinking that your customers is on your team. They want your business to thrive because you're selling a good product. So really, let's break it down here. What do healthy margins look like, right? You're in a shitty position right now, you don't want to be in it. What should you try and aim for? So from my experience, I would say at least 65% gross profit margin. The reason why I'm saying 65% is because it gives you a nice wiggle room in terms of your break-even ROAS, what you can actually pay to acquire a customer. And also you're not handing over 50% of your business or more to some manufacturer in China or India or Portugal to sell you some products that he's already marked up 300% before he sold it to you, right? It's kind of absurd when you think about it that way. And talking about manufacturers, the easiest play would probably be to just go to your manufacturer and try and negotiate with them, because you don't really have to do a lot to get from a 10% margin to a 50% margin. Essentially what you need to do is you need to have your cost of goods sold. So if you're sitting right now at a 10% gross profit margin and you want to get to, let's say, 55, all you really need to do is just to reduce your cost of goods sold by 55%, and that will yield you an additional 450% in gross profit margin. There's a very high return on investment just by trying to call a manufacturer and try and make a deal with him. So after you hit those 60-70% gross profit margins, what you'll start to see is you'll get a lot of diminishing returns trying to make a negotiation with your manufacturer or trying to increase your price. Because if you're at a 90% gross profit margin right now and you want to try and get it to a 95%, you have to do a half again. You have to reduce your cost of goods sold by 50% again. So that's a big diminishing return you see on that, because now you only get 5% extra instead of 45% extra, right? But with that being said, that kind of sums up today's video. The TLDR here really is that you're doing yourself a massive disservice and also your customers by trying to compete on price, because you make it too hard on yourself. And if you're bankrupt, your customers won't get your product. And if you truly believe that you bring something of value to the marketplace that everyone should have, it should be as easy for you as possible to stay in business. So you need to provide something unique to the marketplace. And when you do that, your customers will also want to pay good money for it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.